wrestling fans? This is BrianB, and I'm with my co-host,
Big Daddy J.
and this is Video Wrestling News. And oh boy, don't we have a whole lot to talk about this evening. So, Big Daddy J, right off the bat, what are some of the things that we're going to talk about on tonight's discussion?
We're going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk a little about TNA and main event and some SmackDown.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's get started with Raw. I don't know about you, but I actually somewhat enjoyed Raw this week. It wasn't as good as the past few weeks, but I thought it was decent.
It had its moments.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the best way to put it. It had its moments.
And the crowd was very into it on Monday night.
Very true. The crowd was definitely letting them know how they felt. But then again, it is a Canadian crowd. Most Canadian crowds are usually pretty good. They had their hometown boy there this week, so of course they had a reason to be very happy. We'll talk about him in a little bit as well. So, getting started, first thing that took place on Monday Night Raw, something we rarely see, is someone other than the Authority, John Cena, or any of the main event wrestlers start the show out. And we actually got something really sweet, which was Roman Reigns cutting a promo and opening Monday Night Raw. And he did okay.
He did.
He did pretty good. I mean, he needs a little bit of work, but honestly, he surprised me as far as his abilities. I've never seen him actually do a promo by himself before.
He's got the rock.
Go ahead.
He's got the Rock's blood in him, so I mean, he can cut a promo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's in his blood. Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for pointing that out too. So he cut a nice promo. What else happened during his time?
We saw Kane come out to the ring, and he told Kane that he was Randy Orton's bitch.
That was funny, man.
I was cracking up.
I'll give him credit for that one, because he's kind of right.
And of course, he taunted Kane and said he wasn't the devil's demon child anymore, that he was now the Authority's pup dog, and then that's what he called Randy Orton that. And of course, you know, Kane, he popped his head, cracked his neck, whatever, went down to the ring, you know.
Yeah, that was a vicious fight between those two. I know they had a lot of officials come out and break it up, pull them apart. One thing that was interesting from that moment, though, when we had all the agents show up and pull him apart, people actually noticed that Finley was an agent, you know, and he's actually been an agent, I think, for over a year now. But it was the first time we saw him on camera in a while, and believe it or not, Finley actually was trending on Twitter throughout the night, and people were posting pictures of him like, hey, that's Finley. So it was kind of cool to see him, even though it wasn't, you know, a match or anything. It was just cool to see that he's still around and still involved in the business.
Well, we saw him take a spear from Roman Reigns. And then, not only that, we saw Jamie Noble.
Yeah, which was a surprise.
He got shoved down by Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah. Hard. So they definitely wanted Roman Reigns to come out of this looking strong, and he did. Definitely did. They did a good job in the opening segment. Now, right after that, we were treated to an awesome match, again, between the Usos and the Wyatt family. Just spectacular. I don't know what it is, but I liked when these two teams come together.
That's a good match.
Very good match. I love the fact that they actually gave us something different for an ending. And it was something to kind of get you hooked and say, wait a minute, was there a mistake? So what were your thoughts on the ending of the match?
Well, they kind of played off that the opposite Uso got pinned.
Correct.
That's like a heel kind of thing, you know, where they get mad at the ref, you know, like, hold up, you're not supposed to be doing that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think it showed, it kind of reminds me of a match from that I would see back in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, or more of a territorial league from back in the day. That's the kind of stuff you'd see like in Texas and places like that. And it was kind of cool to see that. We haven't seen something like that in a long time in WWE, where they switch out, and it wasn't for the win; it was for the loss.
We saw it with the Bellas also.
Yes, but they usually win their matches.
Right.
Whereas we saw this, they got switched out and they lost. I like to see that. That was pretty cool. It was different.
Who was
I like when the Bellas do twin magic.
It was I think a Bruise Brothers or something like that.
Blues Brothers?
Yeah, the Bruise Brothers. They had long hair, and they were they were an outfit. It's crazy because they used to do that switch all the time too. They're gigantic people.
Blues Brothers. I don't remember the Blues.
They were DOA in WWE.
Oh, two bald-headed guys.
Yeah.
They were really good. Yeah, back in the Attitude Era. Yeah, they've been all over. What was their names? Man, that's going to come to me later. I know it will.
We'll get to it later.
So yeah, the Usos ended up losing that match because the referee or something, there was a mix-up where one Uso that was actually legal was not pinned, and the one that was illegal was pinned. I'm not sure which one, if it was Jay or Johnny or whatever their names are. But they definitely messed up on the end, but I like the fact that lets us know that we'll see more to come from the Wyatts and the Usos. Sweet! Alright, so what else happened on Monday Night Raw? We had Alicia Fox. She came out and did a match with Nikki Bella, right?
Yeah, and the arm behind the back kind of match.
Right, that's right.
Because Alicia Fox would not let the ref tie her arm behind the back.
Isn't that crazy that they let the match go on that way?
Yeah, he should have untied her. Nikki Bella's, It's kind of a quick match.
Yeah, to the point. It did its job. They're doing this whole authority versus certain people in the company. So the authorities, they represents the heels, and they're going up against anybody associated with Daniel Bryan or John Cena, who happens to be the Bella Twins. So we're seeing that now, and it's nothing new. I think it's cool because we actually get to see the Bellas in a real storyline.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we know they're around for a while. I mean, they're married to the top two guys in the company, and then when those two guys go, they'll divorce them and marry the other two. No, but I'm not calling them whores or anything. I'm just saying. Yeah, that sucks. That ended up in a no contest because Alicia just kept beating the crap out of her. But again, I like this new aggressive Alicia, this crazy Alicia. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I know she poured Red Bull on her, and I guess that was pretty much like the crazy ending. So coming out of that, all we got is really Alicia Fox is still crazy. She's associated with the authority, and Nikki is defending her sister and sister-in-law's freedom. I don't know. Anyway, any more thoughts on that?
Not really.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so either. Now, I know next we had my boy, again, part of my Fave 5, Mr. Rusev himself, the freaking Russian killer who used to be from Bulgaria. Taking on who?
Rob Van Dam.
Man. As soon as I heard that music hit, I was like, no shit, they're not going to make him do the job. Rob did the job. Wow. Good
match.
Damn good match. Kudos to Rob Van Dam for doing something. I'm not going to say who, but someone else on the roster is probably not going to do. So thank you, Rob, for at least knowing how to help enhance a talent. Brutal match, though. It was cool to watch, but it was brutal when Rusev got his offense in. But it was a great match for what it was. Not spectacular or anything, but I know Rusev ended up winning with the Accolade submission. So This keeps him undefeated for a little while. You and I already have our suspicions about how his undefeated streak is going to be taken. It's probably pretty obvious to our viewers as well. So
I'll tell you though, I don't think it's going to go that way.
why not?
Well, we saw Zeb Cutler cut a promo during the match, and he was talking about Rusev. So I'm really hoping that we see Jack Swagger in that, because that would give Jack Swagger a push that he needs also.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, that would be awesome.
That could also set a feud up between those two for a couple months.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think Jack could go with him pretty good. I still have my doubts though of whether or not Jack will be the guy to beat him, but I think it's good because it helps add to the whole America versus Russia thing. So, and it helps Jack Swagger because he needs the TV time. You know, he needs the, like you said, the support, the push from management. Just because he's made some mistakes in the past doesn't mean he's still not a good wrestler.
And it'd be cool to see Hulk Hogan come back and pass the real American thing to him, you know?
That would be the most awesome freaking passing of the torch, you know? That's a big, big deal.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see that for Swagger. Maybe he does something.
A lot of people can't stand Jack Swagger, but I'll tell you now, he can put on a good match with anybody.
Jack Swagger is probably one of the best wrestlers they have on the roster. What we see from Jack Swagger, though, a lot of people don't realize is that it's because of his gimmick and the way he's supposed to work. You don't get to see a lot of his wrestling abilities. The guy can go. He's really good. He's really talented. There's a reason why he's made so many mistakes and WWE has kept him around. Because he's good.
He is.
So I agree with that. And it would be awesome to see, you know, the Immortal One come in and kind of give him that rub he needs.
So, I mean, that's what I'm really looking forward to. I mean, I don't want to go the route that we're talking about John Cena.
Me neither, but unfortunately, I think he's going to go the same way as Umaga. This is typical Vince McMahon booking 101. This is Iron Sheik versus Hogan. This is Iron Sheik versus Slaughter from back in the day. This is Slaughter versus Hogan. This is Umaga versus Cena. He's just being built up to be the guy who's going to be taken out by the guy. So, and then go back down to mid-card status, and who knows. But I truly do hope that you're right and I'm wrong, because I would love to see Jack Swagger get a good push behind him and some good momentum, and hopefully he keeps his head right, you know, and he makes the right decisions, and he actually holds on to the title and becomes a man. That'd be nice. I think he'd be a good guy to carry the company too. A lot of people probably think I'm nuts.
Yeah, I think you're nuts on that one.
He could. You just don't make sure he has a mouthpiece. You don't let him talk.
And he's got a mouthpiece with Zeb Cutler.
Exactly. One of the best for me, freaking promo talkers, creative writers in wrestling history. One of the best wrestlers in wrestling history. So, yeah, he's set. He's set for life. As long as he makes the right decisions from here on out, I think he's going to be really good.
That means no more drugs, Jack.
Well, if you do it, be smart. I'm pretty sure he's not the only one on the roster, but it's just he wasn't smart about it.
Of course, we know Rob Van Dam. He's back there always smoking, probably.
You know, can you imagine, dude? That's like a fantasy of mine. Is like, anyway, I don't want to. I was going to say smoke a bowl with a guy, but I can't say that too much. But anyway, yeah. But hats off to Rob Van Dam for doing the job, making him look good. Hats off to Rusev for really being really great in this push that he's getting. I love the gimmick. I still love his manager, Lana. I love the fact that they just shove it in our faces. I love the fact that they're using Putin still, because it's all relevant and I like it.
And she still has her nice legs.
And Lana still has her very nice legs. And just like you said, she reminds you of Stacy Keebler.
You know, even my wife said something about her legs the other night.
What'd she say?
She said she has some very nice legs.
She does. And she sews them off well. She knows it. Little tease. Miss Lana. Any more thoughts on the Rusev RVD match?
Good match. If you missed it, go back and watch it. I give that match an 8 out of 10.
Wow. That's pretty high. I'd say close to that. It'll be probably maybe a 7 out of 5. 7.5. Yeah.
I I gave it that high because we got to see Rob Van Dam, we got to see her legs, and we got to see Rusev keep going with his victories.
True. I like that finally we have Rusev showing vulnerabilities, you know? Like, he's selling more. The more matches we see him in, the more we'll start seeing him sell and develop as a character. So that's kind of the cool aspect I like of his gimmick and the push he has. It's not going to last forever, but for me, it's just cool as a wrestling fan to kind of see that played out. But, yeah. Anywho, what else happened that night?
Our next match, or no, we saw Bret Hart come out to the ring.
Bingo. That's right. Bret Hart was, yeah, so they were live in Montreal, of course. Bret Hart being from Canada, he's one of the most well-known Canadians of all time. So he got a huge pop when his music went off and he showed up. Now, I know the dirt sheets were talking about maybe he was only going to be brought in for like a dark match segment. I remember reading that and I was kind of like, that's kind of silly. I mean, wouldn't you use Bret Hart considering, you know, you want to like increase ticket sales and stuff? But I don't know. I was glad to see he was on TV.
And what happened during that interview? We saw Damien Sandow. He came out to Bret Hart's music and he said, "What was it? I'm the Hitman, Bret
Sandhart." Oh, I'm loving this whole Damien Sandow. I love it. I'm digging it because I know later on down the road he's going to get rewarded for all his hard work. You know, he just got to mind his p's and q's and be a good boy. I like this because it really develops him as a wrestler as far as his performing abilities. You know.
Right. We saw Bret Hart knock out Damien Sandow. And Damien Sandow was like, "Why'd you hit me for?" You know. But he talked about the Montreal screw job, which had the crowd booing.
Good heel, good heel. And he said I don't know what you guys are complaining about. If I have my way, we're gonna have an Ottawa screw job.
Wow.
He's so silly, man. I'm digging Sandow.
I'm glad Bret Hart is not hung grudges about the Montreal screw job. And he actually took it.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Because if that had been Bret Hart, he'd knock Damien Sandow for real out.
That's very true. He'd have been a sharpshooter for the rest of his life. That was a good thing.
It set up the next match for the night, which was Sheamus against Damien Sandow. And we saw Damien Sandow in the Hart colors.
It was an okay match. It did exactly what it was supposed to, which was make one of those guys look good going into Battleground, and that was Sheamus. And I was reading a tweet this week when I was watching Raw, and I was scrolling through. Somebody posted something very interesting. They said, "Why in the world is the United States champion in a battle royal for the Intercontinental Championship?" And I said, I didn't even realize that. What the heck are they doing?
That's a good point.
Why can't we have two great matches? We don't need Sheamus in the battle royal. He's had some killer matches with Del Rio lately. So it'd be cool to see him have a good match on the pay-per-view as well. I guess WWE thinks differently, but yeah, Sheamus destroyed Sandow in that match. Who also is in the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental title, Sandow. He's not looking too great going in, so it might look like these are signs of him winning the Intercontinental title.
No.
He could be the heel who barely gets away.
I'm going to go with Alberto Del Rio.
Ooh, is he in the Battle Royal?
I believe so.
Oh, I didn't know that. That changes everything for me. Yeah, I didn't know he was in it.
And
Okay.
it's either him or Cesaro that's going to win the battle royal.
Oh yeah. If Cesaro's in the match, he's winning. Yeah. It's his time.
But we're going to talk about it a little later. Our next match was Alberto Del Rio against your boy Dolph Ziggler.
Wiggly Wiggly. Yeah, this match, it did what it was supposed to. The crowd was into it, but yeah, it was just to further the storyline and the rivalry between Fandango and Ziggly Wiggly and Summer Rae and Layla. So it is kind of cool to see them kind of playing that out. I guess this is really meant to be for like Summer Rae and Layla, but it's cool to see Fandango and Dolph kind of have some tension too.
He got up on the announce table and started dancing, and I was thinking Rubbish and Rick Rude the whole time he was over dancing. And he was dancing for JBL. You gotta see the look on JBL's face. It's like, oh my god, what's he doing?
Poor JBL has been ribbed so much on commentary. He has no idea what's happening ever. They're always fucking with him. Oh man. Oh yes, yeah. That match was great, or good for what it was, and it got the point down. Let's see. Ziggler lost, right, because he was distracted by Fandango, right, while he was dancing on the table. So he won with like a kick to the head. So that helps Del Rio kind of build momentum towards Battleground. Yeah, he did his job, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, we had a really great match between. I'd say good. We had a good match between Y2J and Miz.
Oh yes, a very good match.
Yeah, he really brought something out of Miz that on Raw Monday night. But again, that's critical for you. So.
And we actually saw Jericho pick up the victory on that match.
Yeah. Of course, he's the man. I'm digging the fact that he's back. I hope something really awesome happens between him and Bray Wyatt down the line. Speaking of which, did Bray Wyatt come out after the match and he cut a promo on Jericho? A really good promo. Up until Jericho says what?
Shut the hell up.
Classic Chris Jericho. I haven't heard him say that in years. So it really kind of gave me goosebumps. I was like, wow, that's Y2J from back in the day. So it's cool to see Jericho back as a really good babyface this time around. And hopefully we'll see a little bit more between him and Bray down the line. Are any of your thoughts on that match and what happened afterwards? Or?
Well, when Jericho got out of the ring, he went up there on Bray Wyatt, getting ready to go on Bray Wyatt, and the lights cut out. We saw the rest of Wyatt family standing up there, and Jericho didn't know what to do then.
Mm-hmm.
So I really can't wait to see what's going to happen. Because they didn't call him for Battleground. It's going to be the Miz against Jericho.
Ooh. Well, I know on Main Event they announced something different. We'll talk about that in a second. Jericho is in a match at Battleground, and I'll tell you who when we talk about Main Event in a little bit. I know one great match that we forgot to mention. Freaking Randy Orton versus Dean Ambrose. My opinion, match of the night. Wow.
I was saving that for the Main Event.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to talk about the Main Event match, but yeah, you're right. We didn't miss anything in the Main Event match. That Randy Orton Dean Ambrose match, 2 thumbs up. Great match. Hats off. They had one mistake. One small problem during the match, but other than that, everything else went really well. I don't know what the miscommunication was, but it was funny to see Dean Ambrose jump off of the top rope for no reason whatsoever. And all our Randy Orton has to do is turn around and drop kick him. It was an obvious botch. Can't hold it against the guy. Looked like a little bit of a miscommunication there, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah. I feel for the guy, though.
But they played it off very well.
Exactly. They kept going well. Randy showed a little bit of frustration, but, you know, he's a professional and he knows what he's doing, so he just kept on moving. The best part for me was, after it happened, I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then all of a sudden I heard Michael Cole laughing. I couldn't help but laugh now. But great match through and through. Randy Orton getting the win, of course, with the RKO. All I can say is thank you, Dean Ambrose, for being a fucking professional wrestler. He reminds me of someone I would watch in the 1980s. That's how good he is. That's how good he is with his gimmick. His ring gear impresses me. His ring gear, it reminds me of, I guess actually lots of wrestlers from back in the 80s in the NWA, Japanese wrestlers from back in the 90s. Yeah. And his personality reminds me, or his gimmick personality reminds me of a mix between Crazy Brian Pillman from WWF and Roddy Piper.
I see that.
Yeah. I like Dean Ambrose. Kind of jumping on his bandwagon a bit. I might put him in my favorite 5. We'll see, because I don't know. Adam Rose, I don't know. He was right here. Now he might be down here. He's kind of losing it on Adam Rose a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't even on Raw.
Yeah, but I don't know. I want to see, like, for me, I'm okay with Rusev because now he has a rivalry and a feud, right?
Right.
Adam Rose has nothing. He's just on Raw for no reason. I want to see more. I know he's freaking good because we've seen him work outside of the current gimmick he has. He's fucking phenomenal. I want to see that, and I think the crowd needs to see that too to get really behind him. If he's a good wrestler, no matter what your gimmick is, the crowd is always going to like you, respect you a little bit. He needs that, you know. I think the gimmick is okay. He just needs to show more. We need more than 3-minute matches. That's what I mean with Adam Rose. And the only way to do that is if he's got a really good rivalry. So he needs to rival with somebody. I don't know. What's that young black guy with the afro? Oh, what's his name? He used to be Consequences Creed. What's his name now?
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods. If those two can go at it for a little while, I'd be okay with that. I'd watch Superstars for that. Just to see more. But that's just me complaining. Sorry.
Let's talk about the promo that Goldust and Stardust done. I can't hear it. I can't hear what you said.
All I can say is I like it a lot because we're getting to see more out of Goldust and also more out of Stardust. And I know for a lot of people it's just weird. But to me, I like it. I like weird stuff, so to me it's really cool.
He was talking to the wig.
Ooh, yeah. Now, so what do you think that means? Do you think we're going to see Stardust eventually with a wig?
We're going to see both of them with a wig, I think.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Or they're going to start fighting over the wig, and it's going to be like, that's my wig. Because, like, no, that's going to be their feud. They're going to fight over the wig.
Oh, I don't want them to fight. I hope they fight over, like, a championship. But I like the wig, and I really do welcome Cody Rhodes wearing it. Why? Because it'll make his character even weirder, which is the whole point of his character. I love it. I want to see these two together for a while. Like
I can get behind Stardust. I'm really behind it right now.
He's
got more personality as Stardust.
I'll say it. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Cody Rhodes, another professional wrestler. This guy can do practically whatever gimmick they give him and fucking turn it into something great. I don't know why he hasn't been given his time to shine, but he deserves it because time after time, opportunity after opportunity, gimmick after gimmick, he's done well with that gimmick. And you remember when he first showed up on the scene, he was an underdog compared to Hardcore Holly and compared to Ted DiBiase Jr. No one thought he'd be in the business for the long haul. And look at, what time has brought us. Cody Rhodes is one of the greatest, in my opinion, wrestlers of all time. I think he definitely deserves to be in the top 100 or top 150. It's really good. And I'm talking like character-wise, like gimmick-wise. It's rare that you see a good wrestler do good gimmicks every time. Like, look at Kane, for example. This is his best gimmick ever.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Okay.
Because he done pretty good with the Unabomber when he was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yeah, I'd say he did okay. Compared to the accomplishments of Kane and the accomplishments of Unabomber, I'd still say Kane was way better, more menacing. I liked Unabomber, and for those that don't know, Kane he started out in wrestling in Smoky Mountain. Well, not in Smoky Mountain, but he started out his crazy gimmicks. One was Unabomber, and that was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling back in Tennessee, back in the early 90s. And he had that gimmick for a while up until, I believe, like 94. And that's when he signed a contract with WWF and became the world's most famous dentist. But yeah, you're right. Unabomber, he did great. Him and Al Snow were tag team partners. His name was Sensational Al Snow. The guy was skinnier than a toothpick back then. Al Snow.
And young.
And young, very young. Yeah, they had some great matches. So I'd say probably Unabomber had better matches overall than Kane, but Kane has probably had, in my opinion, better accomplishments. I mean, it's just.
Well, I didn't say he was better as a Unabomber. I said he has some better gimmicks than what he did when he went to WWE.
Unabomber was way better than the dentist thing. But I have to say, I have to give him credit. As Isaac Yankem DDS, he did his best.
He did. He had some good feuds also.
Yeah, I mean, of all feuds, he had feuds with Bret Hart. That's a really good. That was pretty important in the '90s. So yeah, he was in a good position. The good thing is, I guess he was going to get fired before they actually gave him the character of Kane, and that wasn't supposed to go to him apparently either. So look what happened there, though. History. Guy's awesome. Phenomenal wrestler. Well, anyway, Kane. Why did I go on a tangent about Kane?
I don't know.
What were we talking about? Kane came out. What match were we talking about?
We were talking about the Ambrose and Randy Orton match.
Oh, yeah. But Kane had nothing to do with that. Why did I talk about him? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, great match. Randy Orton got the win with the old RKO. I don't think either guy looked bad coming out of that match. That's just my opinion. And it's good for Orton in the good graces, keeping him in good graces with the Authority, and it makes him look good going into Battleground. Alrighty. Oh, my boy, Kofi Kingston. Again beats Cesaro. 2 weeks in a row. So here we have. Go ahead.
He paid the price for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, like always, his wins are short-lived. But he was getting his butt kicked until I Need 5 came out, Mr. Big E. So it looks like Big E's going to be involved in a rivalry with Cesaro a little bit. So maybe this is something building up towards the Intercontinental title Battle Royal. I don't know. But I need to look and see who's in that so far. I can stay up to date. So it's good. To me, it's refreshing to see that Big E is no longer facing Rusev. That got old quick. Even though their last two matches were really, really good for two big guys. It's good to see him move on to something else. Sucks to be Kofi, but he got the win.
And then we had the Funko Dackles against AJ Lee and Paige.
All I can say, Big Daddy J, finally. Oh my God. These two have been splitting up for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
In the same way every time they just get in a fight. And finally we had the cat fights of all cat fights, and this was like something you would see on World Star Hip Hop. I feel bad for saying that a little bit too, because wow. I hope this leads to like some really great matches between the two of them. I love seeing the turn. I like seeing the team turn and then have good matches. It's rare that you get that. I think the last time we had that was the team turned on each other, and they had some great matches afterwards. We had Jeff and Matt, WWE, the Hardy Brothers, Hardy Boys, Hardy Brothers. Dang, I can't even remember anybody recent. Oh well. So yeah, I hope this leads down something better down the road for the two of them, and this also helps keep the weird dynamic between AJ and Paige together. This is kind of weird, huh?
Yeah. She announced AJ Lee down to the ring the other night.
Yeah. She's being all happy and nice, and I don't know, like, I guess AJ Lee's a babyface now?
I'd go with that. I go with that and see a Paige turn.
Well, daggone it. So many people are turning. Here's who they need to turn heel. It's freaking Kofi Kingston. And that's all I can think of.
John Cena.
That's done and gone. I don't want to see that. If it happened, it wouldn't even be big news, Unfortunately for him, to me, I think that ship has sailed. And even if he does do it, it's just not going to have the impact that it could have 5 years ago. Now we talk about it, and it's like, it's old to him, you know what I mean? Even he's like tired of hearing it. I'm tired of saying it. But I think it would be good for his career, because I'd hate to see him be a babyface for the rest of his career. That means there's no character development, you know what I mean? There's no talent being used as far as character,
You got to have talent first before you can use it.
Exactly. And that's another thing. Well, I don't want to get started on it. I'm sorry. I'll go off on that. So. We got to talk about my boy. Number freaking 3 on my Fave 5 is the most inspirational pro wrestler in history of wrestling. And he always makes me believe. Bo Dallas, dude, I love it. Finally, he's doing some heel stuff. I'm glad they're doing that with him.
That match was just, what?
Well, I know this started last week, right? And it escalated on SmackDown. When I watched SmackDown, I guess El Torito pissed him off to the point. I guess he headbutted him with his horns to the butt, and Bo Dallas got angry, so he body slammed him really hard, bam, on the mat. And he looks at the crowd, and he finally gets that heel reaction that he needs,
Right.
Looks like on Raw they try to do a little bit of the same thing. It looks like the crowd is finally starting to kind of boo him a bit. Or maybe it was just the Montreal crowd. I don't know. But I'd rather hear boos than cheers for him. He deserves boos, But I love the gimmick. Love it. Love it.
It would have been bad if they booked the little midget to beat Bo Dallas.
You know what? I hope that comes down the road, because I don't want to see Bo Dallas undefeated. I like him being like just a regular wrestler. Regular win.
That would have killed his momentum that he has built, getting me my midget like that.
And I do like the fact that when they say his record, I think this week he became 11 or 12, 11 in bow. So did you see after the match when El Torito was kind of like gathering himself, he was getting up, and Bo was doing his victory lap. He went by and just pushed him over with as he was running.
I missed that part.
Check it out. It's on Twitter. Everybody's been retweeting it. That was probably the funniest moment. He was just running. And he just knocked him over. Oh, my gosh. I love the whole Bo Dallas gimmick. He's number 3 on my favorite 5, so I'm digging Bo Dallas for a little while here. Can't wait to see him in a more serious rivalry, though. But I like this silly Bo Dallas.
That's somebody he could feud with Adam Rose and Bo Dallas.
Ooh, awesome match. Awesome freaking. All I can say is thank you, Dean Ambrose, for being a fucking pro wrestler. The guy was born to do it. Period.
Where'd that come from?
And Bo Dallas is in his blood. So.
I said Bo Dallas and Adam Rose.
Oh, Adam Rose?
Yeah.
That'd be a good match, too.
Yeah.
I like Adam Rose's spots in his match. They're kind of weird and different and wacky. He just needs to be... He needs to have several matches with the same person who knows how to take his move, you know, because when he does his moves, it looks weird because nobody knows really how to bump for his... At least that's how it comes off for me, anyway. I might be wrong, but... that'd be a good match. It's a good idea. So next we got to talk about the main event match. Who, of course, it was Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, taking on the 15-time reigning WWE World Heavyweight Champion, John Cena. Wasn't really about the match. It was really about Battleground. So, of course, what did we see take place? Randy Orton and Kane came out, right? Of course, when that happens, they interfered at the end of the match. But as Kane and Randy Orton are beating the crap out of Cena, who comes out to make the save?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. I hear that music now and I get kind of pumped up. I'm like, holy shit, it's Roman. Roman Reigns comes out and makes the save. I love this Superman punch he does, dude. I don't know about you, but I like that punch. He gets that from MMA. A lot of MMA fighters are trying to use that now. So it's cool to see him like perfect that. And I like the way Orton takes it too. It looks good when Orton takes it. Yeah, so Roman Reigns comes out. He makes the save. He does the freaking Superman punch to Randy Orton. But then what happened? Seth Rollins. You can't forget about Seth. He's always waiting in the wings. Seth Rollins knocks him out from behind. And then he nails John Cena with the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? So this sets up the whole moment where you're kind of like, oh shit, is he going to do it? What happened again? Right as he was about to cash in, who came out? Dean Ambrose. I'm loving the fact that Dean is always there to screw it up. I like that. I don't think we've ever seen that, really, have we, in the Money in the Bank competitor? Where the Money in the Bank holder is always interfered with during his cash-ins. Have we ever seen that from a Money in the Bank?
I think we've seen a couple times with Sandow and Cody Rhodes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They had a good feud last year. That's correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. So I was wrong. This isn't anything new. But I do like the fact that Seth is always being interfered with by Dean. So that keeps their little rivalry going. And I like the fact that Seth Rollins is in the main event picture right now. And he's getting a huge push, being the fact that he just arrived on the scene about what, little less than 2 years ago, or 2 years ago,
About 3 years ago.
3 years, yeah. So this is really good for him, and I hope he holds on to that briefcase for a while. I hope his rivalry with Dean Ambrose dies down, around Survivor Series probably, and it'd be good to see him actually kind of toying with John Cena or Brock Lesnar or whoever's champion. 'Cause I like that aspect of the Money in the Bank. I don't like seeing it always like it sucks now. That's all I can say. Oh, go ahead.
I agree with you on that. But do you really see Seth Rollins pinning Brock Lesnar if he's champion?
Maybe. Depends on how they do it. I mean, I really didn't see John Cena beating Brock Lesnar in his match at Extreme Rules last year, but he squeaked out a win. And I really didn't see Triple H winning either, but he won a few matches, I think. So I don't know. I think they'll find a way to make it look good for Rollins if he did. If Brock, went under for him, did the job.
But
he probably wouldn't win on his own.
But Brock is 21 or 20-1. What was it, 21-1?
Yep, he put the 1 and 21 and 1. Yeah. True, he's got the momentum now. It's pretty much guaranteed that SummerSlam he's probably going to win the gold, or at Night of Champions, either one. Yeah, but who knows? He could put that Money in the Bank on the line against someone that's happened before. Or, I think, who found that out? Mr. Kennedy. He lost his to Edge. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. It's probably obvious, just like when Eddie beat Brock, he didn't beat him on his own. Goldberg interfered, so they'll probably do the same with Seth. But I wouldn't mind that because Seth is the heel, so that's okay.
I just don't see Brock getting pinned anytime soon.
I actually hope he doesn't get pinned anytime soon. To be honest, I hope he doesn't get pinned for the rest of whatever his career has for him. Because what's the point, Whoever beats him they better be the man,
Right.
And I'm talking about John Cena. That's just my opinion, That, to me, that would show the ultimate respect for Undertaker's career, but I'm sure that probably doesn't matter to Vince McMahon. I don't know. Yeah. So after all that commotion, we saw Randy Orton try to sneak in and attack John Cena, and of course he got the attitude adjustment. And then Kane tried to attack him, but he got speared by Roman Reigns. And then we had just the most awkward ending to Raw. It was weird. We had Roman Reigns holding John Cena's hand and giving him that smirk, You got John Cena just like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this guy playing mind games? I like this. To me, I like seeing John Cena kind of squirm a bit, especially from a babyface.
I really hope we see Roman Reigns win at Battleground.
I'd like to see that, but considering we pretty much know the main event of SummerSlam already,
I hope it gets changed, my friend.
I hope that too for Money in the Bank, but that didn't happen. So it looks like they're going their course because they want to make the most money. And I can't deny that John Cena is a moneymaker, so looks like he's the man for a little bit for the next month. Can't believe it's July already. I hope he gets changed too, though. No disrespect to John Cena. 15 times is great, but I'm ready to see some new folks in that main event, to be honest. The main event picture. Okay, so that's Monday Night Raw. Do you want to move on to a next segment, or do you want to do a discussion or anything?
That was a quick Monday Night Raw.
Well, I'm kind of glad we got more to talk about. We do have some folks who are actually watching right now. See if we got any questions on Twitter right quick.
The Raw wasn't a good Raw. It was just a decent Raw for me.
Yeah, it was just decent. For
They
me,
have a
go
lot of
ahead.
deep matches.
Yeah, I like that they're having more of those on the show. Yeah, for me, same here. It was just something that really helped Battleground. It was really just something to help push Battleground.
It didn't really do nothing for me. But of course, I'm gonna watch the Battleground pay per view no matter what. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Uh, Same here. I think it'll still be a good pay per view. You know, Money in the Bank surprised me. It turned out to be, in my opinion, a 5-star pay per view. Um, One of the best they've had all year, and that's really saying a lot because I mean I liked Extreme Rules too, and I also liked Elimination Chamber.
Let's plug the WWE Network for a second. If you don't have the WWE Network right now, you can go and get it with our credit card on their webpage. All you need to put in is your email address. You got 1 week free of the WWE Network.
Very true. Yeah, I say if anyone out there that doesn't have the WWE Network on their phone, or tablet, or whatever, I just say pay it, go get it, enjoy it because there's so much there. Um, I love the fact that WWE not only has every pay-per-view they've had in history, but, or at least for the most part, they also have tons of new content that they're always adding. They're always shooting footage for something new. We had Legends House that lasted for a good season. That's over. Now Total Divas is back on. They put it on this first season. You got WWE Countdown. You have Main Event is now on the network. Uh, so, yeah, I highly recommend it, especially for some of those documentaries. My favorite stuff to watch from WWE on the WWE Network are the roundtable discussions. That's where you really dig deep into the wrestling industry as far as the backstage, what happened between who had heat, who were the heat seekers back in the day, and who had the best stadiums. And it's really cool to see Kevin Nash and Jim Ross and uh, different legends from the past, Gene Okerlund, Eric Bischoff. He was even in one of them. When they talk about these things, it's kind of cool to get that insight. So. Same thing. I agree with Big Daddy J. If you don't have the WWE Network, you're missing out. Find a way to go get it. And like you said, this week it's free. You sign up with your email address. You have no excuses.
We had a comment on the YouTube channel.
Oh, nice.
Melissa, she said, I love the promo with Stardust and Goldust and how Goldust stole the wig from Stardust. She said they are awesome. I never thought Rose could pull off something like this, and he is doing a wonderful job. And she says, Brian, please do the Goldust again.
All right. All right, I'm Brian B, and I'll do it again. Ready? Wait, do I have a wig? No. Go. Then you can't forget Stardust. It's so creepy. I love it. I love that whole gimmick. I love both of them. I love Goldust, dude. That classic character. I'll never ever hate Goldust.
Let's talk about main event now.
All right. So on main event, all right. I did watch main event yesterday on the WWE Network. And they had some good matches. I'll say the match that stood out to me for the whole night was the Sheamus Alberto Del Rio match. It was a last man standing match, and it was pretty good. But let's see. First thing that took place was probably, in my opinion, one of the best moments. We got to see Bret Hart again, and this time it was on Y2J's highlight reel. And these two, so Hart comes out to a great ovation. Of course, they're still in Canada. Y2J and Bret Hart talk about some of the most famous feuds Hart's had in the past. And that's when Bret Hart mentions Shawn Michaels. Here's the funny part. You know who came out dressed as Shawn Michaels at that moment? Damien Sandow. He even did the whole, I got your looks. He did the whole dance on the stage. He had the hat. He had the jeans. It was great. I'm loving this out of Damien Sandow. So Sandow comes down in the ring, and of course he starts making fun of him and Bret Hart and the rivalry, calling him a baby, basically. And then Damien Sandow, as he's talking to Bret Hart just reaches back and clocks him right in the face and immediately locks in the sharpshooter, just like he never missed a beat. It was a great, great segment. It was great for Y2J, great for Bret Hart, great for Canada, and it gave some TV time to Damien Sandow. I thought that was a really funny moment.
I need to go back and watch that.
It was pretty funny. It was a funny moment. I gotta tip the hat to Damien Sandow for he's going through what Heath Slater went through a year ago. You know, it's just paying his dues, and I think he has a bright future in the company, in the industry. So that was that match. We had the second match. There were 3 matches. So the second match was a very strange match. We had Nikki Bella versus Naomi, Summer Rae, Eva, Natalya, and Rosa. All right, she was in a Total Divas cast versus Nikki handicap match. Do I have to tell you who won? Basically, Nikki got her butt whooped. The surprise of the match was Eva Marie. Eva Marie was the person that got the win, and she only won with a DDT. So it's kind of strange that she got the win, considering like Cameron was at ringside. I'm sorry, but Cameron she ran down and attacked Nikki after the match, and Naomi was right there. She chased her to the back. So those two went at it towards the back. So the heels of the Total Divas cast got the win, and this was supposed to be a punishment by Stephanie McMahon, according to what the announcer said. So sucks to be Nikki still. This is kind of continuing their whole rivalry between Nikki Bella and Stephanie, or Nikki and Daniel versus the Authority, whatever it may be. But it did its job. It wasn't spectacular. It just did its job. So, any questions about that match? Yeah, me neither. I got no questions. All right, so last match. Great match. I highly recommend this to anyone. At least go back to YouTube or something on WWE's YouTube channel and watch it. This is probably one of the best matches that Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus have had, and they've had some really great matches, especially lately. And I have to say, man, hats off to both of them. These guys were all over the ring. They were all over the outside of the ring. They were everywhere. And it was a last man standing match. Just awesome. We saw a freaking table spot. Alberto getting smashed through a table. We saw the steps being used. We saw a whole bunch of stuff. In the end, though, we saw the Brogue Kick, and Del Rio lost. He couldn't stand up to the 10 count, and it was great how he sold that all the way to the end. So I highly recommend this match. It really helped out Sheamus heading into Battleground, and I think it also helped out Del Rio because, in my opinion, he stepped up a little bit. We haven't seen really him go so great lately until he's had these matches with Sheamus. So, but yeah, that's really it for main event. That was everything coming out of main event. Just further some storylines, and momentum towards Battleground. Cool.
Actually, you know what? I was thinking about talking about TNA.
Okay.
No, we're not going to talk about TNA tonight. The one thing we'll talk about is Kurt Angle was on Jim Ross's podcast, and TNA offered him a contract extension, and he turned it down.
Yikes. Well, I think it's pretty much set in stone that he's coming over, and I mean, Kurt Angle's had himself featured on the WWE Network a lot lately. He's been featured in promos again. I think it's probably a given that he's going back. Even Bully Ray recently mentioned in an interview that if the WWE called him, he'd go back in a heartbeat. Oh, wow, no surprise, but it is kind of weird considering that he's going into the TNA Hall of Fame. But that's TNA for you. That's Dixie actually. That's not TNA. It's Dixie Carter for you. Not really thinking, not paying homage to the people that actually kind of built the foundation that is TNA. Like, I don't know, AJ Styles, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels,
James Storm,
Bobby Roode, Low Key, Amazing Red,
Eric Young, Samoa Joe, Abyss.
Samoa Joe. Oh, also CM Punk. We also can't forget about CM Punk being there in the early days either. A lot of people forget about that. And Ron Killings, Mr. R-Truth himself.
But that was before Dick Carter ever came in, man.
Exactly. He was the very first champion for TNA. And he had this awesome rivalry with Kim Shamrock. Fucking great matches between those two. Kim Shamrock, in my opinion, was underrated. I just think he needed to get better back in the WWF days. When he started working the independent scene in the late 90s and early 2000s, man, he got so fucking good. He showed up in TNA, was really good. But, yeah, so that's Dixie for you. Not really. She's not a wrestling business person, so she doesn't know. She doesn't understand how to really keep wrestlers around and keep them motivated, and she doesn't care about that. But I will say that I congratulate her on the whole UTA, that United Talent Agency signing, because that's a big deal. That's what got them some of these deals on Big Brother, and that's going to lead to a lot of publicity down the road for them. So that's really good. They always put on a great product as far as matches. Let's be honest. There's no WWE match that can really go up against a TNA match, but it's the storylines that's just bad. I don't get it. I'm so confused. But I know we said we wouldn't talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about
it. Let's talk about Santino.
Yeah. You first, man. I want to cry, dude.
We're seeing one man retire he's done most everything except for win the world titles. He's been Intercontinental champion. He's been U.S. champion. He even had a run with the Honky Tonk Man because he held the Intercontinental title for so long.
Exactly.
The man is great with everything he's done. He's a good in-ring worker. He actually could put on a comedy promo. And I'm going to it's going to be like a Mick Foley. When Mick comes back, he has Sacco and all that. I think when Santino comes out, he'll have the, snake with him.
Yeah, that's true, dude. I agree. All I can do is agree with you, man. Sucks to see him go, and I hate that he had to leave because of an injury. But what a career. What a career. Wow. I mean, he's only been around since 2007, and he's done some things a lot of other people on that roster haven't done. And I tip my hat because I give so much respect to Santino for his wonderful career. He played his role well on the roster. He knew his role. He was the comic. He was the comedian. He was the silly guy on the roster. Every wrestling promotion should have that type of person on the roster for entertainment purposes. And he did it. He did such a great job, as being, this Italian underdog. And his first match, remember, when he won the Intercontinental Championship, his first match. I don't remember if he beat the undefeated streak of Umaga, but it was Umaga who he beat, thanks to Bobby Lashley.
He came from the crowd.
He came from the crowd, gave him a spear or a move or something, and put Santino on top, and that's how he became. Remember, that was back in the. Oh my God. Yeah, it was back in the day where we called him the Milan Miracle. And that was such a really cool run because he seemed like a normal guy. People could relate to him. Even though he had tons of wrestling experience. He's actually Canadian. But, yeah. One of my favorite moments out of his career was when they were using him to mimic real life. WWE does this all the time. And if everybody remembers, 2 years ago, we had this really really awesome guy named Jeremy Lin, who was going through what was called Linsanity in the NBA in the, I believe it was the early months of 2012 or 13. But I remember WWE gave Santino the exact same thing, that same gimmick, and used that. Remember, he got his spot into the Elimination Chamber match for the championship. So it was so cool to see him, get the push and be the underdog and have this really great push from the company. He rarely got that. But like you said, he's had it all. He's done it all. He's been tag team champion multiple times. He's been Intercontinental champion and United States champion. Wow. There's a lot of guys on the roster who's not been able to do that. There are some legends who've retired and haven't been able to do that. He did that. He's only been around since 2007. So thank you, Santino, for such a great career.
And that's not the only wrestler who had returned. Petey Williams announced that he's returned.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know about Petey. Is he retiring for injury as well?
I think so, too.
That's another great Canadian worker. I don't think anybody will ever be able to do the Canadian Destroyer the way he does it. He does it perfectly. He doesn't hurt you. That's really cool. Let's see, Petey Williams. I only knew Petey Williams from his TNA days. I didn't know him from before. But yeah, so let's think about it. Petey Williams was one of the pioneers of TNA. I remember he had this awesome gimmick as the captain of Team Canada that he kept after the World X Cup they used to have in TNA, which they need to bring back. I think, can you imagine having the World X Cup during the World Cup, Big Daddy J? Does that make sense at all? Like for money? Anyway. Yeah, so he was the captain of Team Canada for years. I remember he kept that gimmick. He kept wearing, the Canadian leaf, everything on his gears. That was like his gimmick. And remember when he had that really cool feud/team with Big Papa Pump? He used to dress like him. He'd dye his goatee and his hair.
That's been a long time ago.
Yeah, that was pre-Hogan TNA days. So it was good. That was a good time. Yeah, Petey Williams is the man, and TNA has a lot to thank him for. Yeah, it sucks to see him go. Dude.
And speaking of other things in wrestling news related today, congratulations! This is the White family's 1-year anniversary today.
Yes. Can you believe it, dude? I thought they would have been around a lot longer, but. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, damn, it's only been a year? I was like, shit, it feels like they've been around for like at least 2. But, yeah, hats off, dude. Who would have thought they'd have kept the momentum they have and actually grown it since they debuted? That's something that rarely happens, Shows how good they are. All of them. Looks like Luke Harper's good on promos and in the ring. Of course, Bray's good. He's unique in the ring as well. Kind of cool to see him. Sweet. Oh yeah. What about the cryptic promos from Sting and Sid Vicious? All about 7-14-14. What do you think it's about?
It could be about Tupac's return.
Well, I think you're right. Earlier when we talked, I think you're right. It's probably for the 2K15 video game that'll be included, which in my opinion is fucking great because we haven't seen Sid Vicious in a video game from the WWE since the 90s when he was Psycho Sid. And I'm trying to remember, I think it was WWF Arcade or WWF. Anyway, yeah, since the late 90s, I think it's the last time we saw Sid Vicious in a video game.
We've never seen him on a console game, I don't think, on the WWE.
Yeah, he was on WWE Arcade, that arcade game with Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels and Doink the Clown. Um, and then he was also on that one game that you and I used to play back in the day that we hated. What's the name of that game? We used to make fun of it as we played it. That's how much we hated that game. It was a WWF game, late 90s, had Ahmed Johnson. When they would throw punches, it'd be like, ugh. And when they'd hook up, it'd be like weird, like, what was the... I know that looked weird on camera. Let me go to a list of games.
But anyways, talking about that, I think this will be the sign of them going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Is that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Which, well deserved for both of them.
I remember that one time that Sid Vicious broke his leg in the ring on a Nitro. Oh, that's so gruesome.
That was weird. Can you imagine coming back from something like that?
No.
That was vicious, dude. I think I was with you at the time that happened. That was gross. That was at WCW Sold Out in 1999. I can remember that, but I can't remember him being on it. Oh, I'm sorry. He was on a WCW video game.
Yeah. That's what I said. He's never been on a WWE game.
I could have swore he was in the one of the 90s games.
He's never been on a console. I think he might have been on the arcade machine, the Superstars, or not Superstars, but the other one, WrestleFest.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. With Andre the Giant. That's an old one, though, right?
No, not the that's arcade, or the Superstars. That's the one I have.
Let's ask our viewers. What do you guys think? We got 3 people watching here. Yeah, I think you're right. I have no idea. I can't find it. I'm not going to look for it. But yeah, I think you're right that these two, Sting and Psycho Sid, are going into the Hall of Fame and are probably being included on the WWE 2K15 video game, which, by the way, I plan on playing when it comes out later this year in October. So yeah, hats off to those two if it's true, but we don't know. They sent out these cryptic tweets, and it's all about Monday. So I guess something on Monday will be revealed. It would be awesome, in my opinion, to see them both show up on Monday Night Raw. Who knows? But yeah.
Sid would remind me also of Dean Ambrose, because you know how he was psycho back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sid was the man, dude. I used to like Sid. I liked his promos, even though they were all the same. But I love the fact that he would just scream that, "I am the ruler of the world!" And he would just look into the camera and blink, and laugh.
Or his favorite Monday Nitro promo when he said, I'm half the man you are," to Kevin Nash. Did you remember that?
I don't remember that, but one thing Sid was known for over the years was his promos, and it wasn't for being good at them. He messed up quite a bit. I remember, what was that? There was one time I think I saw a video of him doing a backstage promo, and Jim Ross was the announcer, interviewer, and he messed up on screen. He was like, "Do over," and Jim Ross was like, "We're live, buddy," and he was like, "Oh shit," and he just started talking again. But yeah, that's it. I still think he was one of the greatest. I would also put him on one of the top 100 lists as well, just because of his legacy and the fact that he's still in the business, and the fact that he's been in every major wrestling company except for WCW or ECW. To me, I think
he's definitely my top 50.
I wouldn't put him there. He was good in the ring, decent on promos.
He's in my top 50.
But the reason I would say that the reason he was good is because he was just so big. He was a good big man. But as far as characters, all his characters were the same. Like Sid Justice in WCW was the same as Sid Vicious. I'm sorry, Sid Justice in early WWF was the same as Sid Vicious in WCW, who later became Psycho Sid in late WWF 90s. They were all the same. He would just wear a vest and gear, and that would be it. And that was his gimmick. And he would just act like a crazy big dude. So to me, I was kind of, as far as character, I bring him down a bit. I wouldn't put him in top 50, but ring work, mic work, yeah. I put him top 100 for sure. What other wrestling news we got here?
That tag team we were talking about earlier today, or earlier tonight, that was the Harris Brothers.
The Harris Brothers.
They were called the Blue Brothers in the WWF with Zeb Color. Zeb Color was their manager.
I got to look at pictures. Maybe if I see pictures, I'll remember. I just remember them as Skull and whatever the other name was. They were
two big old giant. 7-foot guys, brothers.
Yeah, they were big dudes. They were good.
And they had long hair and big old beards. And they looked like.
Yeah, Disciples of Apocalypse. Skull and 8 Ball. That's the second guy's name. 8 Ball. That's right. Yeah, they were big dudes, man.
And see, they were in Continental Wrestling back in the 80s, which I used to go to Continental all the time back in the 80s.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Well, guys like Wendell Cooley and Ron Wright, Don Wright, and all those kind of people, you know.
Is that like a Tennessee wrestling, or?
It was all over the South.
I have no idea. Yeah, that's right. Harris Brothers. I'm trying to remember. So yeah, I remember them as DOA with Paul Ellering. I'm trying to remember. That's right, yeah. In ECW. Didn't Continental get bought out by ECW?
Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain bought Continental?
I think so.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay, Blues Brothers. Yeah, I remember them. Bruce Brothers and ECW, and they were. That's right, I remember. Oh, Brian. That's right. I got to go back and watch that. I can watch it on the WWE Network.
But back in the CWA, back in the old school territories, it had Paul Orndorff. It had people like Jeb Jarrett, Jerry Lawyer. It had Scott Armstrong, the Armstrong brothers, Sid Vicious. It had Tommy Rich. It had Tracy Smothers. It even had Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik.
Right.
I mean, it was. I enjoyed it.
If Smoky Mountain bought them, that means that WWE bought that library. Because they have Smoky Mountain. They bought Smoky Mountain. So I wonder. That's one thing I want them to put on the network, like ASAP is. SMW. I'm tired of going to YouTube to watch the matches. You know? Because I bet they have hold of some matches we can't see on YouTube.
I think one of the favorite things was when I used to go to Smoky Mountain Wrestling is when they brought The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels in.
Yeah, back in the night. That was when Jim Cornette worked out a deal with Vince to trade talents. And he traded a lot of good people. Even Macho Man wrestled for Smoky Mountain before Shawn Michaels did, and Undertaker.
But one of my favorite feuds back in the Smoky Mountain days, it's kind of before they went out of business, was the Gangsters against the Rock and Roll Express.
Classic rivalry, man. Classic rivalry. I love the Gangsters, dude. Mustafa Saeed, What was the smaller guy's name?
There was D'Lo Brown, New Jack, and Mustafa.
Mustafa. New Jack. That's right. That's what I was thinking of. Crazy ass New Jack when he was crazy, but he was
He's
man.
still crazy.
Yeah, he's still nuts, but he's pretty much trying to blacklist himself from the entire industry for some reason. But yeah, back then he could be managed. You know, Cornette knew how to manage him. You know, as a wrestler. Yeah, those are. And if anyone doesn't know Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I highly recommend you Google it and watch a couple matches. Just like Big Daddy J said, anything with the Rock and Roll Express, the Gangsters, Mustafa Saeed, D'Lo Brown in his early days, you know, and then he became a part of the militia with Cornette. That was just classic stuff, classic, classic, classic. That stuff CM Punk still watches, you know, to stay up to date. So pretty cool to see that in his documentary when he was watching Smoky Mountain on his bus. I was like, damn, this guy's fucking damn good wrestler. Old school, man.
If anybody's got questions out there, you can post them on Twitter at BWN Main, or you can comment on our YouTube channel and we'll read it.
So I'm looking at some wrestling news here. I'm on wrestlinginc.com, one of our wonderful partners, one of our friends out there that do really good in wrestling news. Looks like the first royalty checks for the first quarter of the year went out, and as we know, pay-per-view royalties are no longer going to be as high as people think because WWE is going away from the pay-per-view format and they're sticking with the WWE Network format, which means wrestlers who are used to getting paid, I don't know, $30,000, $70,000 per pay-per-view are now getting much less. There's an interesting article on wrestlinginc.com, and it talks about how WWE mailed out quarterly royalty checks this past week, and it didn't help anything. People who usually received around $70,000 for the first quarter video game royalty check, they only received around 11 grand. And apparently this was something Mick Foley, I guess he had been talking about online cryptically. And it says that most of the top level guys got around $1,555 for the most recent checks. That's just from video game royalties. Wow. Looks like it doesn't pay to be in the WWE anymore. So this is not the royalties from like WrestleMania or the network pay-per-views. This is just from video games. It's funny how they don't mention that in the headline. But anyway. So yeah, it looks like they haven't been paid yet for WrestleMania and everything. So it looks like we'll have to wait and see on that. I bet that'll be interesting. I'm kind of curious as far as the pay. I think we'll see more comments on Twitter. The pay is low. The wrestlers. Let's see. We got some folks watching. Oh, good. Looking for my control box so we can allow some folks to speak. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and post it on Twitter. Send us a tweet at @BWNMain, and we'll see it there. Or you can go to our live YouTube channel right now where you're seeing the BWN Weekly Roundup number 5. Just post on that comment page on that video, and we will definitely answer any questions you guys have pertaining to pro wrestling this week or pro wrestling in general.
So I think we had a pretty good week in wrestling. I can't wait to see what happens next week, which I heard a rumor.
What's that?
I don't really want to spoil it for people, but if you want me to, I will.
We don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, next week on Monday at Raw, we're going to have a return from the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they've been saying that for weeks now.
But it looks like he's going to be back next Monday night.
Well, it's about time. Where are they at on Monday? Are they in one of the Carolinas?
I don't know where they're at Monday night. So, what's your predictions for the Battleground pay-per-view?
Oh man, I have no idea. Um, Let me check because I don't even know who's all in the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal. Let me Google this thing. I was just reading an article here where the WWE called AJ Styles a hidden gem. Interesting. Oh, let's see. Matches for dun, 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 dun. Let's take a look here. WWE Battle Round. All right, so the matches that have been announced so far. Oh, and I forgot to mention that during the highlight reel on main event, Y2J revealed that he'll be facing Bray Wyatt at Battleground in a one-on-one match. Forgot to mention that. Sorry about that. So we have that match at Battleground. My opinion, I hope that Bray Wyatt wins, but I think Jericho's going to win this first go around. We have. Oh, you have any thoughts on that match at all? Or?
I can already tell you who's going to win that match. It's going to be Bray Wyatt, of course.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. I have no idea. I honestly think Jericho, only because I don't think he put him over the first time. I think he'll put him over the second time. And I think it'll make it matter more. So that way they have their match at SummerSlam. But I don't know. Because if he beats him now, then it means that Jericho will probably go over at SummerSlam, which would mean less for him. I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, it's going to be a killer match, so I am looking forward to it. Okay, so this is the list of participants announced so far on WWE.com for the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if it's set in stone, and I don't know if anyone else will be added or taken out or what, but here's what we got. And this is probably the guy that's going to win. We got Cesaro, Kofi, Damian Sandow, The Great Khali, RVD, Ziggly Wiggly, Big E, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Alberto Del Rio, Bo Dallas, Sheamus, and Fandango. And it says that more superstars will be named in the coming weeks. This is going to be a good Battle Royal.
We got to believe.
Who I think will win?
We got to believe that Bo Dallas is going to win it.
I hope so. But
No. I was joking. I was joking.
I hope any of the new guys win, but I would be okay with an RVD win. I'd be okay with a Ziggler win, or even I wouldn't be okay with a Kingston win. I wouldn't be okay with a Ryback or Axel.
My two picks are Del Rio and Cesaro right now.
I'd say either Cesaro or Sandow. Yeah.
Because I think Bray Wyatt's going to win that match with him and Jericho.
And then we've got the Fatal 4-Way for the championship. That's all that's been announced so far. So I'm sure we'll see like a Divas match or something added.
Yeah, we're going
to probably.
I would not see a triple threat match for the Divas title. Naomi, AJ Lee, and Paige.
That'd be nice. That'd be a good match. Damn good match.
But also they announced Jack Swagger was going to face Rusev.
Oh, nice. Did they announce that?
Yeah, it's been announced.
We have Jack Swagger and Rusev. It's not even on the page. So that'll be a good one. I think it's obvious who's going to win. Rusev. So we got pretty much a solid card building. Once we get some more names for the Battle Royal. Fatal 4-Way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Probably pretty obvious Cena's going over. And if he doesn't go over, I'm sure he'll win the title back on Raw. Unless they decide that Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton will be big. I don't know. who knows? It might be a triple threat at SummerSlam. So, that's my thought so far on Battleground, but yeah, it's still shaping up, so I'm not really sure yet.
Okay, we got a question from Melissa on YouTube comment. Do you think Kurt Angle will return to the WWE and beat Rusev? I hope someone does soon. I'm tired of his one streak, but I'm glad they are making him work more.
That's a good insight, because that could be. That actually could be. Rusev being the strongest way to bring Kurt Angle back.
Because he is American,
Very true.
and they're both Olympic medal people. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So I mean, I can go with that.
I'd rather see that, yeah, for sure.
But also Jack Swagger. I mean, I would like to see him beat him, but if not, except for Kurt Angle, his return, that'd be huge.
I could dig that. I hope they go that route, because we only have a few more months until we see him. I think October he should be showing up.
September his contract ends.
Right, that's true. He could have a. I hope he doesn't have a. Yeah, if it ends, then he can show up anywhere. Though.
And TNA don't put that clause in their contracts.
Again, another dumb move by TNA. Well, or Dixie, I should say. That's a good suggestion. I think I hope that happens, actually. Him or Swagger, yeah. But my gut still tells me Cena's got it locked in. I'm okay with it, I guess. I'm used to it. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you, Melissa.
Reason why I'm not for that is because it don't do nothing for John Cena's career. He's already very established, and Kurt Angle is also.
Exactly.
But Jack Swagger is not established, so it'd be better for his career.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, WWE doesn't think like that. They don't think like fans. They think like money, money, money. And
well, I'm thinking of money.
I know, but you're a fan, and they're business people thinking about making more money, and the only way to do that is keep shoving their cash cow down people's throats.
Yeah, but I'm not going to buy Rusev against John Cena.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's fine. I'm used to it. I guess I'm apathetic. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if they went with Rusev and John Cena. I hope they don't, but I don't know. It's WWE for you. When it comes to John Cena, dude, as soon as he won his 10th title, it didn't matter. Nothing adds to John Cena. Like, he's a regular champion and he's a transitional champion. Like, right now, he's got a transitional reign. His 15th. He obviously didn't want to win it. When he won, he didn't smile or anything when he won the gold. I'm sure he probably feels, like you and I, but he's probably just doing his job. He probably has enough pull to say no, but then again, he's probably got, Vince and Triple H and everybody in his ear just keeping him going. I don't know.
Let's look into the future here. Mm-hmm. When people like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart comes back, the fans go crazy for it, okay? Now, when John Cena does finally retire, I think about when he comes back, how many people is not going to be cheering for him.
Right.
They're not going to want to see it, so they're killing themselves in the long run,
Yeah, but they're not thinking about the long run. They're thinking about now. Satisfying the investors now and the shareholders and screwing the fans a little bit. But unfortunately, he's that top talent. And, of course, in my opinion, there are several people that can roll just like he can and leave the company. It's just I think they need the opportunity. And I think they need a long opportunity, not like be given the gold and then, when things don't work out in 30 days, they take it away. So I don't know. But in a weird way, being the champion is kind of a curse nowadays. it seems like if it's not on Cena, whoever has the gold is injured. It's like you put a curse on that bitch. Like Randy Orton back in 2009 got an injury as champion, and the belt went back to Cena. Dolph Ziggler got a concussion, lost the gold. Cena didn't become champion, which was good. Daniel Bryan, unfortunately, now we know what happened there. Kind of interesting. And when Punk wasn't champion, it was Rock for 2 months. Uh, so yeah, John Cena. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many online petitions we do. It doesn't matter how many times we screw with their Facebook or their Twitter account. WWE, for some reason, thinks it's the best thing to do is to go with John Cena. Now, I'm not saying it is the best thing, and I'm not saying I agree with it because I don't. I'm just apathetic because I know they're not going to care what I say. I'm just a network subscriber. I just watch their weekly TV show on Monday nights and Fridays when I can. Yeah, I don't know why this turned into a sob session. Do we have any more questions?
I don't see that on Twitter.
Okay. Well, I do want to talk about this article here that I'm reading on wrestlinginc.com. And it talks about there was a list of WWE 5 things. When they look at superstars, it's like a video series they do. It's on their YouTube channel. And in this episode they had, it profiled the Fabulous Freebirds, Buff Bagwell, Kevin Von Erich, and the Rock and Roll Express. Now the interesting thing was, you know who was number 3 on that list as on the WWE 5 as far as superstars you didn't know were in the WWE? So we had the Fabulous Freebirds, Buff Bagwell, Kevin Von Erich, Rock and Roll Express. You know who the third guy was?
Who's that?
AJ Styles. Now, a lot of people do know that he was in the WWE and he had that one episode of Jackie dating. That's exactly what they talk about. But the best thing about it was, and I'll read it word for word. It says, Tom Phillips noted in the article that if you watched WWE Jacked, then you might have seen this Hidden Gems lone WWE match. So that's how WWE is referring to AJ Styles, of all people. Well, it's interesting they call him a hidden gem. And it makes me wonder a little bit. It makes me think, but it probably means nothing. I would just love to see the guy and get his break in the E. Probably won't see it.
I think Buff Bagwell was in the WWE for like one match.
Yeah, he had that match against Booker T that pretty much got him fired.
So many botches during that match.
It was horrible. One of the worst, and you know what's funny though? It pointed to something interesting. It showed that WCW wrestlers in the year 2000 and in 2001 were not doing so good in the ring. Their matches were just bad. And it showed because they took their 2 who they thought were 2 of some of the best wrestlers they had at the time and let them be in the main event. And it was so bad, one of them got fired. And we know how Buff's career kind of went after that. But thinking about that match, I'm glad you brought that up, dude. It's like, I loved WCW for so long up until like the late 1999. Things started changing after, Vince Russo showed up and he started the whole Brotherhood angle with Jeff Jarrett. Chosen One.
It got stupid. I think that's when I quit watching WCW also.
Yeah, it was just bad. And the matches, and what sucked is the matches were just bad too. Like, it's just like the wrestlers didn't care and they weren't, talking about their matches beforehand, and it just seemed, it was weird. I don't know, it was just bad all around. And it was it sucked because WCW was trying to like impress WWE, and then they put on this disgusting match that got one guy fired and one in the doghouse for a little bit.
WCW had the money backing them back in the day. they could actually beat the WWE out of business. But
I agree. Oh yeah, they're close.
once they got sold to AOL and people like that, and Time Warner wasn't really running no more, Ted Turner and all that. He actually is a huge fan for wrestling,
Right.
but
Yeah, he's the whole reason it was getting its attention in the company. Yeah, you're right, dude.
we got a private message here.
All right.
What are some of your favorite stables from the 80s, 90s, and 70s?
Ooh, let me think for a second. 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s?
Yeah,
Private message. Where from?
that was on Twitter from Gary.
Okay. Let's see it. Okay. All right. Want me to go first?
I'm sitting here thinking about it.
Yeah, I got to think for a second. Let's start with the 70s, though. Woohoo! Stables?
Stables.
Stables from 70s, 80s, 90s. So 1970s.
That's a good one because I wasn't even born in the 70s.
I wasn't born, but I know a little bit. I'm trying. This is good because I haven't thought about this in a while. Let's see. So I'm going to have to cheat a little bit, Gary. I'm sorry. But I'm going to go wrestling stables in the 70s. '70s. Oh, um, okay, yeah. Actually, yeah. Sorry. Um, I don't know if this is a stable. This is more like a tag team, but I did like the Blackjacks, Mulligan and Lanza, who, by the way, are related to Rotunda IRS, which means they're related to Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, which is why Bo Dallas, when he had his first run in the WWE, he had that black glove on. He was paying homage to his heritage as one of the Blackjacks. So I like that they weren't a stable; they were a team. I think I would call them a stable because they moved wrestlers around a lot. There were always two guys, but you had more than one Blackjack. You know what I mean? Like more than two Blackjacks throughout history. So there's them. Let me cheat a little bit here. I remember Andre was in a good stable back in the 70s, but I can't remember what it was.
Well,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Here's a good one that I remember that came to WWF later. And this was a CWA stable. But I remember seeing videos of this. This was the First Family with Jimmy Hart. He had King Kong Bundy, Bobby Eaton, Rick Rude, Randy Savage, Iron Sheik, Jim Neidhart, Kevin Sullivan, the short Kevin Sullivan, not the writer, Coco Beware, and yeah, and they had a really good feud with Jerry Lawler. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Before they did the whole, yeah. That was. I remember seeing some tapes of them. Not all of them were in it at one time, though. Of course. I'm trying to remember who the originals were. I know Bundy.
I might say my favorite thing back in the 70s would be Don and Ron Wright. I know they weren't stable, but they were still. They beat the hell out of each other and other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. I agree.
19, 1980s, we had the Fabulous Three Birds. We had the different versions of the Four Horsemen.
Yes.
We had Legion of Doom, which if you want to call them a stable, which anytime I think there's more than three people, that's considered a stable.
Right.
We had the Midnight Express with Jimmy Hart, or not Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, my bad. And we had, in WWE, we had the Demolition. We had the Hart Foundation in the 80s because you had Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart. And then you had Bobby Heenan's family.
Yep, the Heenan family. Yeah, right.
If I had to choose a stable from the 80s, it would have been the Four Horsemen of Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, and Sid Vicious.
I agree. Yeah, I think nobody will ever top the Horsemen, the original Horsemen. I would say some of my favorites: WWF, in the 80s, Demolition, Money Incorporated.
They were in the 90s.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let me double check that.
Well, there was just a tag team back in the 80s. I think it was like 89. It was IRS and Million Dollar Man. But it's mostly Million Dollar Man back in the 80s because him and Virgil.
Yeah, it was 90s. Okay. So for the 90s, they were my... I like that. I have no idea. Because if I say it, it'll be wrong, so I don't know. Sorry, Gary. I did like the Legion of Doom back in the day, and a lot of people don't know that they were actually a stable and not a tag team in the 80s. Because they also had a Japanese wrestler who nowadays, I forget what's his name. Oh, hold on, guys. Here we go. Sorry. Yeah, Kensuke Sasaki. He used to be a member of the original Legion of Doom, and he was Warrior out of the group. He was known as Warrior. He used to wear the freaking pads and everything. So a lot of people don't know that. And he actually took that gimmick back with him to Japan. It became very popular. And his whole career has always been awesome. If I ever get a chance, I'd love to meet him. But yeah, that's a whole nother. Kensuke Sasaki. He was a member of the Legion of Doom. And make sure I get it right. As far as his name was... Anyway, it doesn't say here, but... So yeah, we actually got to see a reunion of the Legion of Doom after Hawk passed away. We got to see Kensuke Sasaki and Animal reunite a few years ago in Japan. They had the gear and everything. It was really cool. People were going nuts. It was pretty. You can Google it on YouTube too. Kensuke Sasaki and Animal.
Who was the other guy became a Road Warrior? He was a Hendrick or something like that.
We had Paul Ellering was also a member. He was the manager.
But it's the 90s. It was a tag team, and they were running with the Rollers. It was Animal and somebody else.
In the 90s? Yeah, they added someone.
Yeah, blonde hair wore red gloves.
He didn't last long either, did he? Oh my God! No, the 2000s. That was Heidenreich.
Yeah,
yeah, that was. Oh my God! Yeah, that was the 2000s. Ew. Yeah, I'm supposed to forget about that guy. You remember how bad he was? Oh, bad.
Oh, yeah, answer that question. For the 90s, we had DX. We had the NWO.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, nobody can top the NWO as for the 90s.
Right. I agree.
That's for the late 90s. But you got your early 90s, which I would have went with the Money Corporation. When you had guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, Tonka, and that match at I think it was 96 or 95 WrestleMania between Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor.
Those were that was a great match. Considering Lawrence Taylor, wasn't a wrestler, that was a really good match. I mean, it was all Bigelow. He really carried him, but it was good, really good.
And for Bam Bam to be a big guy like he was, he could really work.
Hell yeah. Completely underrated his whole career. Yeah. He's got some good shoot interviews available on YouTube. I highly suggest anybody check him out because he's one of those guys that just doesn't give a fuck and he'll tell you how it is and not care about the
But it's kind of crazy watching videos with Bam Bam and they're doing shoots and you know he's dead now and it's just like, what?
It's weird.
But we had the Ministry of Darkness also, Undertaker.
Yes.
So, I mean, that was some good stuff back in the 90s. There's nothing. I think the 80s had the better stables, to be honest with y'all.
Yeah, true. We had way more stables. I think it was kind of the heyday for stables and tag teams back then. And then things got a little bit more different in the early 90s. But there were still a lot of stables around. I mean, the early 90s were like the good days of like the Survivor Series days where you see stables get formed and last a while. We saw the Godwins and the Godwins were around for a while. They were actually a stable and they became a tag team. We had Crush. He was a member of multiple factions and stables throughout his career in WWF.
Nation Domination, DOA, Demolition.
Doink. Remember at one time Doink had several Doinks for Survivor Series.
Well, there's the Bushwhackers and Mabel.
Bushwhackers, Mabel.
Demolition, we forgot about them.
Yeah, Middle Mission. They were a tag team. Did they ever have a third? No,
yes, they did. An older man.
Who was it?
It was Mo and Mabel, and I can't remember the manager's name.
Let me look it up.
No, Sir Mo became his manager when he won the King of the Ring. But there's an older guy that was a manager.
No, it just says they were a tag team.
They were a tag team, but there's a manager.
No, in USWA, they had a manager named Frazier. When they come to the WWF, it was just those two.
I thought he came here for a little bit with them.
Well, this is Wikipedia, so I don't know if it's really true, but it says in USWA they wrestled as Harlem Knights with Frazier. And
yeah. You can go back and look on the YouTube. You can find actually the debut of them, and there's 3 guys with them.
Okay. Oh yeah, they have a picture here, and it says it has 3 guys in a WWF ring, so it's kind of weird that well, this is Wikipedia, so I don't know, but there's a picture here, so I believe you. So they were a good stable, probably underrated. Wasn't Jeff Jarrett a part of a stable when he was Double J? Or was it always him and the roadie?
It was just him and the roadie.
Remember that shit when they did that song and it turned out to be the roadie who was the singer? Road Dogg and Jesse James.
Won't you be my baby tonight?
That's it. Oh, that was back when WWE would like try.
I'm gonna post this in the Google chat window, so you can go and check it out.
Let me see.
It's the debut promo for the Men on Mission.
Let me check it out.
Texting, bragging, flirting, stalking people.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what else we got? Any more questions?
We got a comment and private message again. Do you think we'll ever see a CM Punk and Stone Cold match at WrestleMania?
Nope.
Nope.
We're not going to see a Stone Cold anything match at WrestleMania. Period.
Stone Cold is done.
Yeah, it's gone. That ship has sailed. If Stone Cold were to work a match today, it just wouldn't be a good match. Just because of his injuries and his body. You know, I know he gets thrown around on the movie set quite a bit, but still, it's different when you're in the ring.
If he was going to do a match, he should have came back 2 years ago and done a match with CM Punk.
Yeah, that's done. That's the reason Stone Cold does that. Whoever asked that, the reason Stone Cold does that is just the same reason why many other guys do it, is to stay relevant. That's what wrestlers do. They work the system, and they just try to keep their name out there somewhere, and that's how he does it.
Stone Cold should have retired back in the 90s when Owen Hart dropped him on his head.
Yeah, as far as injuries, yeah, he should have let it.
I mean, he kept coming back and kept coming back. I mean, I would love to see the match, but I don't think we're ever going to see CM Punk come back anytime soon either. So
Right.
the time he does come back, it might be too late for Austin to get in a match. You know what I'm saying?
It's already too late, and Austin knows that. He tells people that. It's just people don't listen. We hear what we want to hear, but he also uses that against us by. He doesn't exactly say it, but he'll sort of allude to it, to having another match. That's what Hulk Hogan does. He does the same thing. Brother, I might have another match, and blah blah blah. And he's not going to. It's just to get us talking, keep his name out there. But would I love to see that? Hell yeah, that's like a wet dream. But some of my wet dreams are not going to come true. Now, I would like to see some matches that we can see nowadays. I'd like to see, if we could do a crossover, I'd like to see AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston. I think that'd be a killer match. And if they let Kofi not be a spot guy and just work a match, same thing for AJ, I think it would be a great match. I'd like to see Christopher Daniels versus Seth Rollins. I think that'd be a good match. Yeah, I like the concept of knowing, that certain wrestlers, even though in their heyday, or they're legends or whatever, and they've done their business and they can contribute a little bit, but now I think it's time we focus on who we have around. So I think this whole part-time thing needs to go away. I think Jericho should be the last of a dying breed. Same thing with Brock Lesnar. To me, I think it's wasted money if you can't have that person there for more than 10 matches a year. That's just my opinion. Why pay a guy $500,000 when you can pay someone else who's going to work fucking every day for $100,000? I don't know. Brock brings in the numbers, and I guess that's what matters, even though it's not going to matter at SummerSlam. Why? Because we have the WWE Network. So it's going to make a huge difference as far as pay-per-view numbers. And we'll see. It's one of the biggest tests, I think, for the company is the WWE Network and SummerSlam. I think it worked out at WrestleMania because it was new, and now it's kind of established itself. And now the company kind of has to prove to us why we need to continuously use it. I think it's still, worth $10 a month. I think it is, but I think WWE is going to raise the price, and in order to do that, they have to justify that with value. So.
I mean, it's well worth more than $10 a month.
Yeah, I would pay slightly more. I think.
I pay about $20. That's it. That's how I would go.
I wouldn't go that high.
Well, reason. Hey, look, you don't have to pay $50 for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, pay-per-views are going away anyway, so eventually you wouldn't have to pay $50 for a pay-per-view anyway.
But it's still thinking of helping the boys. The money that you're paying to the network is kind of helping the boys.
We'll see. It depends. They haven't even paid the boys yet, so.
But we heard this about TNA also. Dixon's not paying their guys. They're going out of business, everybody says, but yet they're still here.
Well, TNA has a lifeline, though. Can't forget they have an endless supply of credit from Dixie's family, which is why they crack down so hard on the financials of the company, because you got to bring that in. You got to.
And look at Vince McMahon. He was a billionaire, and he's no longer a billionaire now.
Yeah, that was for a day. He reached billionaire status for like a year. That's really good. As far as his wealth, he's close to it. And what I mean is like his assets. He doesn't have that much cash. But even so, though, regardless, he's always going to be worth $500 million. To me, that's still really good. But we're not getting what we want, and I think this is going to show because if people don't really turn in to pay-per-view or the network to watch these special events, whatever they call them, that sucks for WWE. You know, because pay-per-view is going away. You know, UFC's doing the same thing. They're going to try to start their own network and get rid of the pay-per-views because first, it costs a lot of money to do pay-per-view, and two, it's dying. It's going away. People aren't as willing to pay for that when you have on-demand for free on your Comcast or Dish Network or YouTube. You know, you can watch any WWE pay-per-view 2 days later on YouTube. Somebody puts it up there. And there's
or watch Raw the next night.
Or watch Raw the next night, yeah. So, unfortunately for WWE, you know, they're a media company as well, but media is becoming more free, and they're trying to find ways to keep making money. I do think it's smart, though, that they're beating the curve of pay-per-view, you know, going down as far as numbers. But I don't think the WWE Network is a foolproof way to kind of keep that money coming in. And they've done really well so far. I'm sure by the end of the year they'll have 1 million subscribers. But remember, they announced that if they get 1 million, that's just the break-even point, which means that's just how much it costs. They haven't even made a profit yet, which is why the stock price kept going down, because the investors were like, no, you didn't do what you promised.
You know what I really like? That's what I would really like. WWE go back old school and only have like 4 or 6 major pay-per-views a year.
No, I don't want to do that.
I could take a break off of it for a month and not watch a pay-per-view.
I'd say less than 12, but no. I would probably keep it at like 9 or 10. Just cause if you, I used to think like that. If you build towards a pay-per-view for several months, then it might mean something. But after TNA has tried that, you know, last year, it didn't work out too good.
We're talking about TNA.
Well, they already tried that. They did that all last year. They did, 4 pay-per-views? And the rest were like Friday Night Slams or whatever the hell they were doing. It didn't work. It's not working because I used to think that way. However, I realized we're in the time of now. Like, everybody wants everything now. So somebody who hears about, I don't know, a Stone Cold and CM Punk match that's going to happen, I don't know, at Survivor Series, probably not going to care too much until Survivor Series. Whereas when you and I were growing up, we fucking couldn't stop thinking about it for 6 months or 3 months. It's just a different time, and I think most of the people just don't even care to wait that long. I mean, look what they did with Daniel Bryan. They weren't really going to push the guy until, you know, their customers got involved. And even then, they still made their customers wait like 9 months to get a payoff with Daniel Bryan. He gets the gold. 3 months later, he's on the injury list for a year. Now, that's not their doing, of course, but that's not to say that they're not happy about that, because they're used to shoving someone down our throats. We shove Daniel Bryan down their throats. You know, that's how Vince McMahon works. He doesn't like that. And I kind of see why, because he didn't create Daniel Bryan. Why am I going off on this tangent? I don't know. How did I get here? But TNA, the only thing to save TNA is viewers, period. They need their numbers to go up so they can justify their advertising revenue to Spike TV. Spike's not going to lose them. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to keep them. But without Spike and without the Carter family fortune, it's just a regular independent pro wrestling promotion. And that's not a bad thing. It's just they could be number 2 if they really tried, and not necessarily copy WWE, just go back to being TNA. TNA was good because they were different. You know, I liked seeing Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas in WWE with Brock Lesnar having great matches, and I love seeing Amazing Red with Low Key and Christopher Daniels and CM Punk in TNA. Ron Killings. I like seeing that. I like the difference. I didn't want to, see anybody change, but the business is what it is, Once they realized, I think the first guy to come over was what, Christian Cage, and he realized it was a huge mistake. Booker T came over right after him. Huge mistake for him. He even says that. He says he wants to forget about his entire time at TNA. This is someone who is featured every week on TNA. He says he could give a damn about. He wants that whole period of his career forgotten about. That's not good. That's not good. That's horrible. And that's under Dixie's watch. That's under Jeff's watch. And on top of that, you got Kurt Angle. He came, did some really good things. Is he a lifer? No, he's not going to stick around. And he says the right things on camera. Oh yeah, I'll be with TNA forever. Blah blah blah. Come on, we know he's talking to someone at WWE already. They're already mentioning him in promos and on the network, and they're going to have a show dedicated to him. Come on, they're already getting us ready for him again. And I'm welcome. I welcome it. I think it's time all of those old WWE wrestlers go the fuck away, including Kennedy, including Bully Ray, and for all of them, just go the fuck away and let TNA be its own baby, create its own self again, be what it was when it was created. Unfortunately, we don't have that. I'm glad RVD's not there. I hope Jeff Hardy is gone. I hope Matt Hardy goes away. I don't want to see Tommy Dreamer. I don't care. I care about the younger guys on the roster or some of the originals who should be there because they fucking helped build the company. That's what I care about. I care about James Storm, his old partner, Smoke, what was it, America's Most Wanted. I like remember the World Cup, the X Cup they used to have, where Team Japan, Team Mexico, Team USA, Team Canada, Team Italy. We don't have that. Where'd that go? I don't know. I don't know what can help TNA, but right now the only thing they can really focus on is people because ain't nobody buying tickets to the shows. People are barely watching it from week to week. It'll jump. It'll go sky high. It'll go way back down. It'll go sky high. It's like people care, but then they're like, what the fuck? And they tune out. I feel the same way about WWE sometimes too, though. But I still like TNA as a wrestling company. I hope that they stick around for the future, and I hope they don't, wind up closed. But I'm not going to sit and watch the product and be entertained when you got the fucking top heel in their company talking about if WWE called him, he'd go in a heartbeat. Yeah, okay. What? Why don't you just fucking go instead of accepting the fucking Hall of Fame nomination? That's so stupid. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you doing there anyway? Devon sucks. Let's be honest. He needs to stop wrestling. He needs to retire. He's just lame. He's just a bad wrestler. I don't like Devon. I don't like Bully Ray because he sucks. In the ring, he does the same shit every match. His punches look retarded. He's done the same punch from the 90s, and I hate it because it looks so stupid. He doesn't care about connecting. He doesn't care about realism. He doesn't care. It's just all about getting his spots in. On top of that, though, he is a good heel. I mean, can't take that away from him. But it's time to just go away. Go away. Just go. All of them. Just go away. Jeff Hart. We don't need Willow. We don't need that bullshit. We don't need. We don't need fucking. We don't need any of them. Just tell them to go away. Let it be. That's just my opinion. But I know
we close out the show. There's going to be a benefit show in Knoxville, Tennessee for a family called the Norton family. It's going to be on July 25th at 8 p.m. It's on a Friday. And it's going to be at Washington Pike. I'll post more on Twitter about it. But if y'all could, please come out to that show. I think I'm actually going to be there. And if you do come out to the show, say hello to me and talk to me.
Sweet. Do you ever meet Big Daddy J at a charity wrestling event? That's really cool. And this is going to benefit someone with cancer, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Around the Knoxville area, make sure you go out and see Big Daddy J and pay your respects. Make sure you pay for a ticket. The money does go for a good cause, and it's to help someone who's battling cancer. You said July 25th?
July 25th. I'll post more about it on Twitter, and I'll post it on our Facebook. Get the word out. There should be some good wrestlers at the show. We'll have to wait and see. But even if it's not, it's for a good cause. So come out and help the family.
Sweet. So again, another really great discussion, Big Daddy J. Again, we went all over the map tonight. I think that's really awesome. So
good questions, good questions that stumped us.
Yes. Thank you for those who submitted questions, Melissa and Gary, and all the other folks who posted comments and sent questions via Twitter. Keep doing that every week, please. And you can do that throughout the week as well, and we'll still answer. We try to wait till the show, but hey, no matter what, we'll answer you guys' questions. We like those questions because it makes us think. You really stumped me, Gary, on the 1970s, and I realized I didn't know as much as I thought I did, so I have to go back and look at some tapes. So. And Melissa brought up a really great point of what if Rusev gets fed to the machine Kurt Angle? Good point.
That'd be a good match.
I don't know. Maybe I just want to see Kurt Angle in the WWE. I don't know. Maybe that's it.
I want to see him retire there.
He deserves it. Yeah.
He does. In the Hall of Fame.
You know what? To be honest, though, I don't really care who he faces when he comes back. Yeah, I don't even care. I just know that he'll be awesome. He can still go. He's still got some years, year or 2 or 3 left in him. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot one thing. Since you brought it up, you brought up one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and I have to play his music on before we leave. So. One of the all-time greats. Wasn't he on the roster for like 2 years?
He was on there for a while.
Even when he would come out and do his entrance, remember he would sit in the middle of the ring and read a poem? Poor guy. Poor guy.
Oh.
He got a dream job and didn't know what he was doing, and he just said, follow whatever we tell you, and he did it. Just like Snitsky. They were like, kick this baby, huh? Alright, I'm sorry, man. Another great discussion this week, Big Daddy J. Thank you so much again. We went over so many things from Raw to main event. We even talked about SmackDown a little bit, and some TNA. I'm excited for Raw. Or at least for Monday, I'm excited for Raw, but I'm excited for Monday to see the announcement from Sid and Sting and whoever else is involved. And I'm really excited for Battleground, believe it or not.
I'll be happy for it. I still think it's for if they actually announce they're going to be in the wrestling game, it's going to be the first WWE game ever, WWF game, that Sting and Sid has been on ever.
Yeah, that's a big deal, too, so... I can't wait to fucking play with Sting, dude. And I can't wait to do the powerbomb with Sid Vicious. Or Psycho Sid, I should say.
Stinger splash in the corner if they can actually get it right.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I wonder what... don't get me... No, I hope it's not bad.
All right, Brian, I'll see you next Wednesday night.
All right, folks.
Time.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you guys for watching our discussion. We'll hope to see you next Wednesday.